Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultants channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And I need to move fast if at all possible. I'm doing my laundry and it's taken so long to set up and to get this camera to finally work and stay on that I only have about 10 minutes before the laundry's done. I want to talk to you about a news story that is making the syndication rounds throughout the country for a reason. I was at work yesterday. Work, if you watch my last videos, you'll see how that goes for me. I'm being stalked there. You have only seen a sliver of what I have to deal in this workplace. Remember, the first videos on this channel were about business, specifically about ethical and moral business. That's not where I work, folks. Okay? But no, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm at that job, and every once in a while on the computer, I'll go over and see what the news is. Did anything blow up? What just happened? And I go over there and I see this news story, and the news story, this is at Fox News, and it says, Bill Hemmer, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. This is what I read while I was at work supporting this wonderful lifestyle. All the money I make at my job, you know, that attorney, that Minnesota attorney who knows everything without even asking any questions, just unbelievably big brain person. Doesn't have to investigate, research, learn, but he still knows everything. He knew that I made enough money. You should be in a home easily with the money you make. It's like, really? I make less than I did before when I had a home. I'll give you an example. Do you know how much money I spent on gasoline yesterday, just in a 24-hour period? $40. $40 in one day. Now, granted, I had run down the tank a bit from the day before, well, quite a bit, and right now I'm already down to between half and 3/4 a tank. So I'm going to have to go put another $15 in. But folks, that's what it is in the winter. I spend $20, $25, $30, depending on the price of gas, every single day, and I don't even drive the car. And I don't even have a heater. This is to get the engine warm, which is, in other words, to wear down the engine and help destroy it. Running the engine 16 hours a day when I'm not at work, because that engine heat is the only thing that gives me a prayer of a chance of being covered in blankets, having some warmth. And occasionally you get a period like this where, you know, I may have had the car running for I don't know, more than 16 hours right now. And I'm very cold. I'm very cold, believe me. I just don't, I got too much going on to mess with the blanket. Another reason I want to get this video done so I can warm up. $40 in one day, folks. This is my last day of work for this week. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go into the hotel to get my 1.5 day that I pay more than I paid for my entire apartment for, as a reward for doing all this hard work for this company. I don't have enough money. I'm going to look more closely at my finances, but when I did a quick check this morning, I don't think I have enough money, at least not for 2 days in the hotel. 2 nights, I should say. It's 1.5 days. 1.5 days of time I'm in there, but 2 nights. The best I'm probably going to be able to do is one, unless I go sell something that I worked to earn, honestly. Not using credit cards. I worked, I got paid, and I paid for it and bought it myself. I'm going to have to go sell it to stay in a hotel for 1 extra day this week. Probably. I don't know. I might, if I do squeak by, I'm going to have almost nothing left. Folks, I was at work earning the money for that kind of thing. To pay $10 a week for fuses for this thing over and over and over again. Constantly replacing the fuse, getting on the ground in this cold. Putting in oil all the time. That's what I was earning money for at that job. And I look at this news report and it says, Bill Hemmer, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. How am I supposed to take that, folks? That was just BAM! I don't have a family. BAM! I don't have a home. So does that mean I'm not eligible for Christmas? I don't know what Christmas is, or my Christmas can't be a Christmas because Bill Hemmer says so? I don't even remember. I've had to do this video so many times to try to get it before this camera worked. I don't remember if I told you. I don't know who Bill Hemmer is. So I had to go and find out who this is. He works at Fox News. And it's so obvious what's going on. After work, I looked him up. I looked up what was going on. It took Folks, you should know this yourself. You should have these skills. It took me probably 60 to 120 seconds to realize what was going on here. This is a public relations stunt, paid who knows how many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars are behind this, to get this story syndicated all around the country so that everybody's hearing it repeatedly at one time, just being broadcast to them, and they can't challenge it. Remember, Fox News censored me. I can't log in anymore and comment. They're not going to tell you that, but I can't go in there and comment on this, so I have to do these videos. They're broadcasting this to you for a reason. They want to pump this into your brain for a reason. What could that reason be? Folks, this is clearly public relations to build this Bill Hemmer guy up to become the next David Brinkley, the next Walter Cronkite or whatever. They're trying to build him up to be the next Fox News guy. But the thing is, you don't do that in business politics in a sleazy industry. In a legit industry, perhaps, but not in an industry like the news media unless Bill Hemmer plays ball. He doesn't make waves. He doesn't stand up for anything, doesn't stand up for truth, doesn't stand up for justice. He doesn't stand up for anything that his bosses don't tell him to stand up for. He doesn't stand up for you, and he sure doesn't stand up for me. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. We would eat so much a food coma was inevitable, and all of us would end up lying down on their carpet, comatose. That's a quote from Bill Hemmer. Folks, according to Fox News, a man just said that. Not a woman, but a man. A man. We would eat so much a food coma was inevitable, and all of us would end up lying down on the carpet, comatose. Folks, when I was growing up, that's the kind of thing you would read in Better Homes and Gardens, Cosmopolitan. That's not what a man says. A man would be on Fox News or on the news. First of all, wouldn't be all made up like a Maybelline king. Don't forget, before you see this guy on Fox News, he's off in another room that has all these lights, and there are people who are probably paid more money than I am for doing productive work, who do nothing but sit there and paint this guy. Probably has one or two on the side doing his hair, getting him all made up like a Maybelline king for your consumption. To make this guy look as good as possible. Why? Because if he looks good, you're going to be more likely to believe any stupidity this guy says. Such as, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. Oh my goodness. The purpose of Fox News is to be a foil against CNN and all these corrupt leftists. It's essentially the same thing. It's to suck all these conservatives, pull them under this Fox News umbrella, and make them think they've got an advocate. But you know what? Conservatives, in my experience, real conservatives, are real men and real women, not effeminized robots like this guy. This guy should be wearing a plaid shirt and telling people how to rig up their car and how to drive safely in a snowstorm and when not to, when to go out and help people who are being stranded in snowstorms to help save their lives, even at the risk of their own personal safety. That's what a man would do. They wouldn't sit there and talk about recipes. Does that sound like an advocate of conservative America, or does that sound like these loony liberals where men are now women? Which does it sound like, folks? You tell me. A man who's wearing makeup, who's talking about eating so much food that they went comatose on the carpet, and everything this guy says, again, sounds like it came out of Betty Crocker, Better Homes and Gardens, Cosmopolitan, something like that. He's not talking about getting dirty. He's not talking about the reality of the world that we live in, something that real men had to deal with throughout history. They were the ones out there dealing with the reality of this world. This guy isn't. This guy's manufacturing a fantasy land for all these conservatives who think that Fox News is on their side. Meanwhile, by seeing this over and over and over, it wears conservatives down. It starts to implant in their minds over and over and over. This is what a man is. This guy this girl or whatever this is wearing a suit is what a man is. This made-up Maybelline king who talks about food and recipes. This is what a man is. That's what they're programming viewers of Fox News to believe. Does that sound like a conservative way of living, or does that sound more like something the liberal news media would do? Fox News is the same thing as CNN, MSNBC, and all those other loony birds. It's the same thing, folks. That's why this Bill Hemmer could be put on a pedestal. And for some reason, I didn't even know who this guy is. And I'm looking at the news report and thinking, why did they just pick this guy I've never heard of to tell us what Christmas is? Why would you do that? Because it's public relations. That's why it's syndicated. That's why the same story is all over all these different news services around the country. This is what they want you to think about at Christmas, folks. They don't want you to think about Iran being this close to having a nuclear bomb when they have sworn to start World War III to bring in their Mahdi. They don't want you to think about that. They don't want you to think about Russia being this close to invading Ukraine, which will change the world dynamics in your life. They don't want you to think about China being this close to taking Taiwan, which will change the world dynamics in your life. They don't want you to think about that. They don't want you to think about 20,000 homeless people in Minnesota who are left for dead. They don't want you to think about 4 million American citizens who are homeless in America who are left for dead. That's not what Christmas is about. That's not the Christmas spirit. Christmas spirit is locking yourself up inside your house, COVID style, pulling yourself away from the world, not interacting with the world that you live in, not interacting with these social species that you're a member of, and just holing up in your bunker with your family and going comatose on the floor from too much food, while all this starvation and hunger and suffering's going on around you. That's the Christmas spirit, according to Bill Hemmer. Therefore, according to Fox News, which conservatives thinks represents their values. Do you see yet, folks, that Fox News is part of this same corrupt media? What an insult to me personally. I don't have family and I don't have a home. What an insult to see that headline there while I'm working at that stupid job for these people who treat me so horrifically. The abuse I take in that place. My God, you have no idea. I'm in there at work and I see a headline like that from some made-up Maybelline king who probably is paid 50 times as much as I am to tell lies while I'm sitting here for free telling you the truth. Can't find my glasses. Great. All right, so according to Bill Hemmer, by omission, according to Bill Hemmer, Christmas is not about the birth of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. It is not about Jesus Christ. No, but it wasn't even mentioned. It was all about Him, about food, about wrapping, how to wrap gifts. How to wrap gifts, folks. Not Iran, not China, not Russia, not homeless people. How to wrap gifts. Christmas is not about Jesus. He never mentioned it. Christmas is not about reevaluating your life and your position as a member of a social species. A social species. Thanksgiving was for giving thanks for what you have in this life. Christmas, the Christmas spirit, is about being a member of a social species. The baby that was born on the day at least celebrated here, it wasn't that actual date, but Christmas celebrates the birth of a man who spent his entire life homeless, serving other people, to the point where he suffered the most excruciating death you could ever imagine to save everybody else. But Bill Hemmer, no, you just wrap gifts, you eat food, you hole up in your bunker in your home, because Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. Me sitting in this car, Christmas, I'm not eligible for Christmas. I'm not eligible for the Christmas spirit, according to Bill Hemmer, who Fox News believes is so important that what he says needs to be told to the world over and over and over through syndication. That's a public relations firm that they hired, folks. Do you understand how the news media works? That's why when you read the text at this magazine in New York and this newspaper in Arizona, they say the same thing. Because it was written by the public relations people. It wasn't written by journalists. Journalists had nothing to do with it. This isn't journalism. This is public relations. It's propaganda. A journalist would go out and investigate things. A journalist would go up to Bill Hemmer with a microphone and say, "Sir, how do you feel about the statement you just made, slapping the faces of 4 million homeless Americans, many of whom don't have any family? Would you please answer that, sir?" There's not a single journalist doing that. Oh, I'm sorry, I am, but I'm only going to get 30 or 50 views. But thanks to that public relations firm, hundreds of millions of people are going to be exposed to what this guy's saying. This guy plays ball, folks. That's why Fox News wants to build him up. They chose him. They groomed him. They groomed him. Like a predator grooms a child. They groomed Bill Hemmer to become the next big name in news. And the only reason they would ever do that is if that man plays ball. He does not challenge authority. He does not stand up for anything that he's not told to stand up for, which means he stands up for nothing, which means he is not a man. Which means that Fox News, who claims to stand up for conservatives, is putting an effeminized man up as their leader. Does that sound like something that advocates of conservatism would do, or does that sound like something the liberal media would do? Fox News is the same thing. Sorry, I'm hungry. I gotta go get my laundry, folks. That's all I can give you right now. But something to think about, because do you think about that when you see these headlines? Or have you trained yourself to recognize what's going on in this world? As soon as I saw that headline, I knew what was going on. It took a couple minutes of research to confirm it. It's obvious if you know how this stuff works. But when you read a headline like that, do you just let that go right over your head? Yeah, that's right. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without family and home. And you don't think about all the people who don't have homes, and all the people who don't have families, and all the people who don't have families or homes. You don't think about what the real meaning of Christmas is. Christmas that we have in the modern age is a Christian holiday. They're trying to convert it into something else, and Fox News is complicit. They pulled Jesus Christ out of this thing completely. Completely. Now it's about giving and receiving gifts. It's about partying. It takes you right back to the origins, the pagan origins of Christmas, the Saturnalia. Pagan festivals. Just round robin, just 2,000 years of people actually focusing on something that matters, and now they're bringing us right back to where we were in ancient times, where Christmas becomes nothing more than a party, a pagan party, where Jesus isn't even a part of it anymore. And I'm not even here to get religious with you, folks. This is just how human manipulation and propaganda works. You can either watch the news media and be brainwashed with this stuff day after day after day, or you can watch a channel like this and you can hear the truth. Please, let other people know about this channel so that they can learn the truth. I gotta go get my laundry. I hope this was enlightening and gave you something to think about. Thanks for watching.